All right. Well, what's up, everybody? This is Austin.
I'm Rob.
And welcome to the GameDown first ever video cast, maybe podcast too, depending on how this goes. This is like underground guerrilla warfare recording right now because we don't know what the hell we're doing.
We're going to figure it out, though.
Yeah.
Make it work.
So, GameDown podcast. If you haven't heard about us, you're probably a normal person. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. But what we want to do is start bringing games to you that you may have heard of, may have not, and just bring back some classics to revisit the nostalgia of the old.
Basically, how it's going to run down, I'm going to talk about a game I've been playing for a little while. Then we're going to kick it over to Rob here. He's going to talk about a game he's been playing for a while. And then we're going to wrap up the show with a little bit of a classic game, which you may already know of. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to talk about a game I've been playing. It's Saints Row the Third.
All right, well then let's dive right into it. So what is Saints Row the Third all about?
All right. Basically, it is about a game called the Saints and just how they're trying to take over and get more power, get respect. But the thing is, it's fucking insane. Okay, now this is what I want to point out. I avoided the Saints Row series for a long time, mainly because I just felt like it was a GTA clone.
GTA.
Yeah, I was like, fuck this game. This is not Grand Theft Auto, it's not San Andreas. Oh, if I want to shoot some people and steal some cars, I'm going to play GTA. I'm not going to play Saints Row. So, and plus, the first one came out on Xbox 360. That was in a time where we only had one system, where we were poor and jobless.
Money.
So, the first one came out on 360, I avoided it at all costs. The second one was coming out on both systems. That was when I had the GTA vibe and like, I don't want to play this game. Third one came out, I still didn't play it. It came out in September, I want to say 2011. Still avoided it. Just picked it up for free off PlayStation Network because I've been hearing so many great things about the third one.
All right.
Because people are telling me, it's not a GTA clone. They're doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy. Rob, it's crazy. Let me just tell you a couple things you do I'm rolling up my sleeves.
All right.
My fake sleeves.
Now you got to set us up though, because I'll agree. I was on the same venture. I've never played Saints Row because I said this is GTA with poor graphics. This is GTA, and like you said, I never had the 360. Despite I had heard Saints Row 2 sold well and had a very big fan basis, while San Andreas and others were still kicking, even Vice City.
Yeah, I mean, I was always hearing good things about the Saints Row series. I just never really wanted to believe it, gave it a chance, didn't really care. But one of the real thing about the third one, which, again, I've never played the other ones, the third one is insane. I'm going to give you a list of a couple of the crazy stuff you do. You can pick up about a foot-long dildo and beat people with it. Just random civilians, you can beat the shit out of them with dildos. Okay. Or gangsters, whoever gets in your way, just dildo smack them.
Nothing like a good old cock slap.
Second thing, you get crazy ass vehicles. You can get a car with a catapult that'll suck up people and then shoot them out just at random. You get a laser jet fighter thing where it just beams people to death. There's zombies in it.
Gotta be zombies.
There's always zombies.
Always zombies.
There's like a scene where you go, which is probably one of the coolest missions, where you basically go into like a computer, like a Tron world, and become like a massive beast thing and just start beating the shit out of stuff. And my particularly favorite scene of the entire game, pretty early on, you remember that song that goes, early in the morning, rising to the street?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the people on Saints Row have heard that song too. And you're driving, and both their characters are like, oh shit, I used to listen to this song in high school all the time. throughout the entire mission you drive there, they're singing the song word for word and not word for word, screwing stuff up. Just be like, the cigarette, now snap shoes on my feet.
I got a Dalmatian, and I can still get high. I still get high. I can play the guitar like a motherfucking riot. That's the one. Life is too fucking Come on, man. Get into it. Come on.
It's hilarious. That right there made me fall in love with the game.
Well, that sounds very...
It's so over the top and crazy. You don't know what's coming next.
Now, I had seen a lot of people say that is where Saints Row takes off to where GTA lacked is it's not as serious and it has a very like fun, crazy factor type of an attitude to the game. Like just the whole game altogether.
Definitely. Like that's one of the things that I loved playing it. I loved picking up the controller and just playing the game. There's a story there the story's fine. It is crazy. But I just love picking up the game to play it. And I had fun just playing the game, which really doesn't happen a lot anymore. A lot of games are always focusing on like the big story elements, these big set pieces, this specific mechanic of the game or something. This is just like balls to the wall, just do whatever you want to the extreme level. Sorry if I didn't put any deodorant on. I did, people.
But that's awesome though, because that's what I feel games have been missing lately. Is you get into a game and it's great, this great new concept, all this new stuff, but you're bored with it in 10 hours, and you're like, why did I just spend $60 on this game? Or this has been done before, and it's getting harder and harder to feel it. But that's awesome. I would like to try that out myself.
Definitely try it out. It was free on PlayStation Plus. I don't know if you picked it up or not. Did you?
I've downloaded it. It's sitting in my games list. I haven't played it yet.
It's definitely worth it. If you're like me, feeling like no GTA clone, fuck that.
Okay.
Then just give it a try. I swear in about an hour you'll be like, okay, this is pretty cool. Fun.
Now I've got to ask, because not every viewer out there is parent standards over the age of 18, but
it's true.
How is the mature content level of it?
Well, if you didn't get an idea by dildo stacking, it's not as bad as I really expected it to be. Mm-hmm. Like, there's tons of curse words. Fuck this, fuck that.
Listen, you French fuck.
Please, I am Belgian.
So make yourself a fucking waffle. We done here.
And there are sexual things, but it's just it's that fun of the game where it's not as I'm trying to think of the word, like it's abusive.
It's just extra content, but it's not the
like crazy vulgar and stuff. It's there, but it just everything just feels like it's almost like a satire. Like it's just for fun. There's another mission where you have to rescue like this one guy, and he's being held in like this sex slave mansion. So you get to him, and he's in a gimp suit with other people in gimp suits, and they're all tied up to like those Chinese pull cart things.
Yeah.
And you proceed to have a shootout while standing on these pull carts while gimps are pulling you, and you're going like 5 miles an hour, like bah, bah, bah. It's so funny. It's so fun.
Sounds like
It's not for your kids, but it's really fun.
For all those people that like the old movies like myself, it sounds like a tie into something like Pulp Fiction into a video game. Great game, great movie.
It's so good though. I really like it. I recommend it to pretty much anyone, even kids. 5 years old, go ahead and play it. I'm just kidding. It's bad. Don't do that. Read a book.
So, with this game striking you so well, I gotta ask: are you gonna get Saints Row 4?
Hell yeah! God, I can't wait for Saints Row 4.
That's awesome.
I'm counting down. This made me so. The guys at Volition who make the game, they didn't get my money for Saints Row 3 because I was picky and sad. They're getting it day one on Saints Row 4. I'm really excited.
Well,
Can't wait.
PlayStation Plus, they did get a little bit.
Yeah, they did. They got a little bit. So, but that's Saints Row the Third. I think it's about time we move on.
Yeah, sure.
Move on to your game. Rob, what have you been playing?
Well, this very fine system right here that I just recently fell in love with, thanks to this guy.
How recently?
Last Christmas, I tried to pull the inner kid in me, and I asked my wife. I said, "Can you buy me a PlayStation Vita?" Came out of my paycheck.
Came out of my paycheck.
But
we'll edit that out.
But I got a PlayStation Vita. Great system. I don't know why I didn't buy it earlier. I decided to revisit an old game that I had played for the PlayStation 3 a while back, and that's Disgaea 3. Absence of Detention. I almost said Justice. That's the PlayStation 3 version. But yes, that's what I have been playing. Great game. It's got a nice old school feel to it, and sort of lets you fall back into the roots, but it still has it works well with the Vita to where you could pick it up and play, and it has that Japanese feel to it to any people that might be searching that direction.
So, what I want to know is, this is a strategy RPG.
Correct.
You're on little tiles.
Correct.
You move around blocks and attack. You got
Correct.
spacing. You got to worry about spacing. You got all this.
Spacing.
It's like a chess game.
Yes.
How does it stack up against the massive, gigantic strategy games like Final Fantasy Tactics? Because we love ourselves some Final Fantasy Tactics.
Final Fantasy Tactics, who doesn't love it? It's so basic and simple, it's complex and awesome. But
I wouldn't say basic and simple. I still don't know how to play that game.
Okay. Like he said, you're on spaces, and it's on a very not linear, but cross pattern, you know what I mean? There's no diagonal movements, and three-dimensional is so-so. You move around in the grid type pattern, and it's very, very story heavy, to where you follow the story and then something happens to where you gotta battle somebody, and you go on a map. It has a more of, like I said, a Japanese artsy feel to it rather than the modern style games. And compared to Tactics, I'm sorry, but Tactics is old. This is Tactics on steroids.
Okay. So I probably would be completely lost in it. Although I did play Disgaea 2, I want to say, a while ago.
Okay.
And for like a couple hours, I liked what I played. Mm-hmm. It was like a rental.
Okay.
I remember picking up my fellow companions and throwing them across the stage. Can you still do that?
Yes, you can still throw companions or enemies. I often do that when an enemy is pinning me or in an annoying spot. I just throw them across the map.
Now you're talking about the art style. I know for a fact you're not a big anime guy.
Okay.
So it seemed like you're not really into the quirky Japanese humor with like you know what I'm talking about. You know what
Yes.
I'm talking about. Does this follow that, or does it fix it in any way? Does it make it more accessible?
Well, it kind of ties them both in to where, like you said, I can't. The whole eyes popping out, the exclamation point above their head.
That's Solid Snake. You love
That
Metal Gear.
stuff
Fuck
happens.
that exclamation mark.
That stuff does happen. And it does have the Japanese art style that is over the top in that part. But they sort of try to make it in a adult type of way to where, yes, it is anime style play. Very much so. And it does have the cartoonish, childish type thing, but it's with adults, so you're kind of left confused, like, what is going on? And
Okay, is there like really awkward, strange sexual references?
It's funny that you mentioned that. I was playing it, and
Gotta love those Japanese.
every single woman in that game, I swear, has bazingas out to here and a little material covering it. But they're supposed to be like messing around children or young adults in the game, so it's confusing. But my wife even commented on it and said, "Are you kidding me? Do they have to be that far out there?" But yes, it fully ties into the Dragon Quest, any type of Japanese heavy style artsy game that you can think of, where they sort of play away from the norm. You know, they say let's keep our cartoonish fun and bring it into a real life scenario, such as anime does.
Interesting. Is this the first Disgaea you've ever played, or have you played any other else? I said I played the second one. Have you played any others?
Like you, I had played the second one. I don't remember if mine was a rental or if it was on one of them old-fashioned demos that you get, the little demo disc with the Game Informer or something.
I don't even know. That was PS1 days, really, I had a lot of demo discs.
Disgaea 2 was for PlayStation 2, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I think I did briefly touch it, and I says, you know what, Austin? I don't like this anime stuff. And I left it. Only to fall in love with Final Fantasy. I don't know.
Well, Final Fantasy doesn't really follow the typical anime conventions. I think that it's always been a lot more accessible and not as outrageous, kind of goofy as other stuff. Disgaea being one of those things.
Disgaea is crazy. I will say one thing in that topic with Disgaea is I catch myself many times, since I'm not a big anime guy or anything like that, just shaking my head like, that's stupid. That is the most retarded thing I've ever seen.
I bet you
but I keep playing it.
I bet you it's winning you over.
It is.
In some ways.
It is, and I could see myself playing into more Japanese-style games. In fact, I've sort of opened my eyes, and I want to start playing more Japanese-style games. I want to start leaving, because they have what I like.
They're going away. It's harder to find. I think that's probably one of the things that you're missing is you're not seeing this. PS1 had tons of JRPGs, tons of them.
All the time.
Legend of Dragoon, Final Fantasy, Xenosaga,
Xenogears.
Gears was on
Xenogears.
PS1. It was just everywhere you go.
I said Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest, Breath of Fire. Anyway,
there's so many.
There's so many you can't even count. Now it's like it's hard to think of JRPGs.
Now is where I have to throw my insult. Everything's like, can we make it like Call of Duty?
I mean, luckily Western developers have actually grown up and know how to make a game.
That's true.
Back in those days, it was really hard to find anyone who was developing stuff in our home country that knew what the fuck they were doing and made anything fun.
Watching the credits, they would be all Japanese. This one, Kiraki, Jiroshima, then James Brown. You're like, what?
In localization.
In localization and voiceover. Except back then you read dialogue.
So, are you enjoying the game?
Yes, I put about 35 to 40 hours into the game, which is unheard of in a game nowadays. I'm very much so enjoying it. The story's quirky and awkward, but enough to keep me interested to where I'm like, I just gotta know what happens next. It's like a bad B-rated movie. You want to know what happens
You're
next.
entertained.
I'm entertained. Definitely entertained.
That's all that matters. Okay, now this is an offshoot. After playing this, would you be interested in playing something Disgaea related, as in the Prinny games on PSP? They were like a side-scrolling action game. They're really fucking hard, too. Like, they'll beat your ass like Mega Man games.
I would be willing to try it. Like I said, this game opened my eyes to where I want to start trying out more of those Japanese hard to the roots games. The games that sort of revisit the old, what made video games challenging, what made them tough. Because something about those games, when they're so, like I said, quirky and weird, and you're playing as a little kid or this and that, and you're like, this should be easy. And then you get your butt kicked left and right, and your ass is slaughtered, and you're seeing game over, and what's going on? How is this game beating my ass? But I like the challenge. I love the challenging games. That's why I like RPGs so much and strategies and such. So I would be willing to try it out.
Cool. Well, any last thoughts before we move on to a little bit of classic action?
I will say, open up your eyes and try something new. There's more past Call of Duty. I have to throw that in.
Open up your eyes?
Yeah. It's a big world out there. Tons of games. Try them all.
I thought that was like an anime reference, like open up your eyes, because their eyes are huge.
Well, of course. It's always... But I didn't see the bubble. So, and then when you close them, you got to make the V. Or nothing.
You've been playing too much Disgaea. Moving on.
All right.
Let's move on to our classic game of the week, day, month, whatever you're doing right now. Tell us, what game did we pick?
Well, before he mentioned Mega Man, I'm going to say same company. How about Capcom's Resident Evil? What a title launch that was.
Resident Evil.
So go ahead, before we... Wow, how did this game... Explain to me your first time you ever placed Resident Evil. Once you pop that open button, put the disc in, tell me what happened. I want to hear, Austin. What was your first original thoughts? Tell me it that day when that happened. Because everybody has a story.
I was thinking, please turn this off. This is too much. This is too much for me. I can't do it. Because before this, there was nothing I even came close to that captured something as like just something that was made to scare the shit out of you.
Oh, yeah.
This was like the Halloween or even the Psycho maybe. I would probably say Halloween more so.
Yeah.
Of video games. Like this just felt like it started a whole new revolution where it just wanted to scare the shit out of you. It wanted to make you feel helpless. And with the controls, you felt helpless a lot of the time.
That is true.
And it was so hard. Like,
and kids, this was before the Plants vs. Zombie days, when zombies were actually evil.
They're evil. They're trying to destroy your lawn, and you know they're trying to eat your brains.
That's true.
But there's sunflowers that protect you.
There's
sunflowers.
It's true.
And beans.
Was there anything in the game they did that caused you to feel this way? What, like, explain to people, because this is just normal day stuff. If a kid nowadays put this in, he would laugh and say that was lame. Why did it scare you? Why did it make you feel this way?
At the time, it was the start of all 3D games. Like, this was when everything was getting 3D polygons, 3D atmospheres, a whole world. It became believable. They had, realistic people in the setting. They had voice acting. Bad voice acting. Barry. Where's Barry?
Wesker!
It was just, even though they were all bad, it created a world, and it created this scenario where it put you in, it got rid of all your teammates in the story. You felt alone, and it did everything horror movies do right.
Yes.
They had crazy camera angles that put off to the side, and you didn't know what was coming. It had the music that would just be creepy and weird. Even at the beginning, like I was playing it yesterday with Rebecca trying to play the Moonlight Sonata.
Yeah.
She's playing it all fucked up, and I'm like, that's kind of creepy. Like, it did so many things right in this horror sense, and it was creepy, and it was hard. It was an uncomfortable game.
I fully agree.
I never even beat it. Like, I'm gonna go out there. I probably got halfway. I never beat this game. I watched you beat it, but that's about it.
Oh.
So what about you? What was like the first thoughts of playing this game when you first tried it?
Okay, well, Resident Evil came out in 1996 is when it originally debuted. At the time, I was 9 years old. I don't believe I had a PlayStation at the time. They're too expensive, and gaming systems were not as common then. However, I had a friend who had it, which is all stories begin, and I had played it at his house. I had played it at his house.
Such a big community back then.
Yeah.
It's weird, because even with online and everything now, all these people who play games, but back then, it was just like,
hey, come over. We're all going to gather around.
It was a community.
And I remember that's what we used to do. I was 9 years old, and I remember they said, hey, check this out. I got Resident Evil. And all of us could think, oh my God, that's like mature content. That's scary. And
this is rated M?
Yeah, this is rated M. Like that was before they had the you can buy it at this age and stuff, and it was.
That's not an M for Mario, is it?
Well, all I could say is I put this game in and I got the shit scared out of me. I couldn't sleep right. I had never, like he said, I have never played a game to where I could feel so alone. They brought everything that every nightmare was made of in that game. Snakes, spiders.
Yeah, that's true.
Aloneness, the creepy piano, the violin, darkness, corners where you can see there's something there, but you know it's not right, but you have to go past there.
Zombie dogs.
Oh, don't even get into the zombie dogs. I think the first time I played it and the zombie dog came out, I think I literally had to stop and turn on the lights. This was the first game where I ever had to stop and say, I can't do this anymore. I have to turn on the lights. Like Austin had said here.
Definitely. I pretty much only played the game with the lights on.
Yeah. I could not, and I had lived in the basement of my parents' house at the time too, which just added to the creepiness, but I could not play this game alone or by myself. In fact, I never ended up beating it because it was hard. It scared the shit out of me to where I only played it when some of my friends were over, and it took me a couple years until I said I don't want it anymore. I traded in.
I don't want it anymore.
But I ended up getting it back, and that's when I got this copy, which was the director's cut, which means more zombies and more.
More zombies.
And that was
everything.
right before the second one was about to come out, and I played it through, bared through it. That's when I met Austin. I says, check out this fantastic game. You have got to see it. It is awesome.
I'm like, I don't want it. Let's play something else.
And
Let's play Star Wars fighter game.
And I will say that I had played other games because I know everybody says it wasn't that bloody, which it really wasn't that bloody of a game. There had been games, Wolfenstein, Unreal Tournament, Duke Nukem, Doom. Those games were so bloody. There was boob shots. There was paying for strippers. They had all that stuff. This game had the scare tactics. This game had the violin.
It really, like, the only blood is pretty much, you get bit or attacked and just, like, this blotch of blood comes out. And that's all you really get.
Yeah. But this was the game when you did finally die or get to a save point, you literally exhaled, you know.
Sanctuary.
I could breathe.
And doesn't it have like music specific for like the safe zones?
Yes.
It was just like, oh, this is heaven.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave this. I'm done.
Yeah.
Shut off the game. Bring it back to the video store.
Yeah. But
so,
how about the times when you were walking around with 3 rounds left in your clip and a plant or an herb and a knife, and that's it. And there's 6 zombies in that room. You have a feeling. Now what do I do?
Run.
Yeah,
as fast as you can. It was rough. The game was rough.
It was really tough.
And I can vouch because I just was playing it yesterday for a little bit. It's hard as shit. My 10-year-old self would beat the shit out of me playing this game now. It's ridiculous. Like, I literally shot a zombie 11 times before he dropped. I only had 15 shots.
Because everyone knows you got to hit him in the head.
It's impossible. This is what you do in the game. You go up here when their head's right here, or you go straight for the chest, or you go for their foot. And I remember that. I know there's a way where you can pretty much almost specifically get headshots.
I remember that you had to shoot them just above the head.
It's rough. So anyway, that kind of brings me to like, what are your thoughts now? Like looking back on the game, do you think it holds up well? Do you think it did anything that continues on today?
Well, I think for all of us older gamers, we look at Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. That trilogy right there, that is our roots. But again, that is roots. That started it all. Resident Evil now is phenomenal. I mean, it's big. It's huge. It's everything. And the scare factor, I don't think it's there like it used to be. Yes, there's way more gore. There's way more disgustingness. But back then, all it took, like Austin said in the movie Psycho, was a knife going ding, ding, ding to scare the shit out of us. We didn't need guts ripping out and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think the media sort of ruined games like this in the fact that they're not as scary. But I think this game launched one of Capcom's most successful titles, and Hollywood benefited off of it. Can you explain how Hollywood might have benefited off of this?
Oh, the Resident Evil movies. I mean, they're still going on today.
What are they, 8? 7?
I don't think there's that many. I mean, maybe if you add in the CGI films, they made
Yeah.
some CGI ones too that were straight to DVD.
And the
But
3D.
The impressive thing is, at least the first one was actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
It was actually a decent horror flick, I think.
Yeah.
I'm no pro in horror movies. Don't get me wrong, because like I said, I played this and I'm scared shitless. I'd rather play a horror game than watch a horror movie. Girlfriend knows about this. But yeah, it started something that I think kind of is lost nowadays. But I think the big thing was they went a different direction with gameplay. Mm-hmm. I think gameplay was the one thing they wanted to change and bring into a new generation. Yeah. And I think with that, it just started going in a different direction. Because, like you said, the first trilogy and Code Veronica are all pretty much still backgrounds, tank controls, you press forward to walk forward, you don't, it's not, exact. And people, that was one of the biggest dislikes about the whole series. That's why people wouldn't play the series, because they hated it.
Yeah.
Said it sucked. I don't completely agree with that.
No.
But once Resident Evil 4 came around, they switched it. They put it behind the back. It's third person. Yeah. The environments, you can move the camera around. And I think that control automatically makes things less scary. Yes. Automatically makes things more predictable, more manageable.
Yeah, I can.
And that's something you don't get in those first ones. When you can't control the camera. The people making this game wanted you to look at something this way. They didn't want you to move the camera and see something behind there. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah. I just thought about it too. The puzzles. The game had puzzles.
Yeah. It's something even nowadays.
I don't remember
Resident
any
Evil
games
still kind of has.
I don't remember the old games back in the day. Back then, having puzzles. Resident Evil was one of the first.
I fucking hated it. Even now, I'm thinking this is a zombie game. It's about action. It's about trying to find these people and surviving. Why the fuck do I have to figure out why this pigeon foot is missing from the statue over in the library, and I have to read this note that unlocks a safe in the basement, and then I have to get a key that opens up the What the fuck am I doing? It pissed me off so much, and it doesn't even make any sense. Why does this mansion have all these locked doors and you need to put emblems in a fireplace to make it open?
The sun crest and the moon crest.
It's stupid.
So I
guess it makes the game longer. It gives you something else. I respect them for doing that. It pisses me off.
So I gotta ask, who did you start off with, Jill or Chris? Did you pick the knife or the handgun?
I always pick Chris, and I'm always like, fuck, that's why people pick Jill.
Exactly.
But you get the handgun really quick. It's really only that first initial zombie that you gotta hack up with a knife that takes all my life away.
Yeah. Well, I will say I've picked Jill every time, and I was 9 years old, so I still thought girls had cooties, so I said... Damn, I don't want to pick this girl, but she has a handgun, and sorry, with a zombie, I want a gun. But great things, great points that Austin brought up here with that, and it really did. It just launched a whole new type of playing, and just the artisticness of it. I think Rob Zombie would appreciate this game.
I think so. I think it definitely should be a classic. I think it's something that should be looked at and held in a high regard. I don't think it probably doesn't live up. It's probably not. It doesn't really hold up nowadays. But if you can kind of play it and put yourself back in that time and understand what it started, then I think it's definitely worth checking out.
and this goes for a younger crowd too, for sure. Maybe not even that much younger than myself, but I noticed it on the back of here. Resident Evil Director's Cut had something that Resident Evil, the first one, didn't have. Analog Dual Shock. Rumble Pack.
Oh, I can feel the vibration in my
I remember
hands.
playing it the very first time on Director's Cut. I'm not joking you. I screamed like a little girl the first time I got bit and this thing vibrated because it was one of my first games. I threw that controller and literally cried. It was time for Mom to come revisit me.
Damn, DualShock.
DualShock had just came out then.
Remember when that happened?
Oh man. Wow. But what a great series that launched. I mean, just unbelievable. And even going on, I mean, oh man, I'm sorry, I can't speak enough about how great this game is. Pick it up and play something.
Speaking of, final thoughts. You want to say anything else about it?
I just want to say, play it.
Play it. Definitely. All right, I think that'll pretty much end the show. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We will be doing GameDown as much as we can. If you like this, hit the like button, subscribe. We'll be all over Average Joe Gaming and probably maybe our regular sites too, just doing stuff.
Check out Average Joe Gaming. There's a lot more work than just GameDown that goes down there. There's a lot of time and effort that gets put in there so you guys can get what you want. News the fastest possible with a non-biased opinion for the most part.
For the most part. We love PlayStation so much. Really, I mean, we just do this because we love games. We want to talk to you guys. We want to let you know what we're playing, what we like, what we think about it. And I mean, just join the conversation. Join comments. Follow me on Twitter. I'm ASOP Beef. AESOPB3EF. Are you on Twitter?
I am, but just follow him.
Just follow me.
I'll make a name. I'll make a name one of these times. So, but no, give us some games that you would like to see. Remember old games that you used to the Crash Bandicoots, the Jet Moto. The games that really brought you into it, and maybe we'll talk about it.
Mario.
Super Mario Brothers.
Donkey Kong.
Why can't we ever play as Luigi?
Year of Luigi. Year of Luigi.
Couldn't
Nintendo.
be better.
Okay, well, that about wraps us up here. We will see you at another time. Until then, some catchphrase.
Keep on playing. This is GameDown. We're out.
See you at Albert's.